Good evening, sports fans! Crobat for the win of the Token Minorities here today with Season 8, Week 5 of the NPL. Now, this is my team builder for against the Tampa Bay Frogadiers, coached by Vert, a good friend of mine. Obviously, his link and everything will be in the description. Now, it's a tough matchup for me. Not going to deny it. He has some major threats, and we're going to talk about them right now. So, his whole team is Mega Diancie, Hydreigon, Gengar, Necrozma, Gliscor, Ferrothorn, Heliolisk, Arachnid? I still don't know how to say that quite right. Talonflame, and Hariyama. Now, there are 3 major threats that I see there that can do major damage to my team. Now, the first one is Mega Diancie, of course. Not only does it have Magic Bounce, but it's just really fast. If it sets up a Rock Polish or a Calm Mind, I might be in some big trouble. So that's something I really have got to prevent. I've got to have so many checks for that thing, as many as possible. I also see Gengar as a really big threat because it outspeeds the majority of my team and hits the majority of my team super effectively. So I can only imagine the type of set he might run with all that coverage. Now granted, he may have a little bit of 4-move slot syndrome, but thankfully I have a way to stop this Gengar. There's one Mon on this team that can take any attack from Gengar. We'll come into that later. And of course, actually, you know what? There are 2 more big threats that I see. Necrozma's a big threat. It's just very bulky. It's relatively bulky. It's got good offenses. It's got a really good ability. It's got recovery. The next one I was going to say was Talonflame. I mean, even though it was nerfed, it still hits my team very hard. I just don't have any rock types. Like, I don't have anything that can take a Brave Bird or a Flare Blitz very well. Like, just there's not too much there on my team, so I've got to really use berries well, hope to prepare around that in a suitable manner. So there are 4 major threats, actually, of his 10-member team. I'm amazed. That's, I think, the most I've ever put in a team builder for major threats. Like I said, this is not my best matchup, but we're going to make the best of it. Why don't we jump right in to see what I brought for this week? First off, we've got Victini, Fugacity with Chartyberry, Glaciate, Blue Flare, Hidden Power Steel, and U-Turn. So this is going to be a Mega Diancie check for sure, because it has the Blue Flare. If Mega Diancie thinks it wants to get cheeky and switch in on a possible V-Create, I'll probably Glaciate on a switch. I can U-Turn around on multiple Mons. I've got Hidden Power Steel, like I said, just for the Diancie. Blue Flare is going to do a ton of damage to much of his team. Things I gotta watch out for, though, are Hariyama and Gengar to a large extent, but if I get a Glaciate off the ground as it's switching in for some reason, that's not too bad. Also, Necrozma, if it starts setting up Calm Minds on this thing, that won't be a fun time either, but I think it checks Mega Diancie very well, because it can definitely take a Diamond Storm with the Chartyberry. Let's see what our next Mon is here. Next Mon, we've got Packed Bed Reactor, Mamoswine with a Pasho Berry. It's Earthquake, Ice Shard, Stealth Rock, and Icicle Crash. So it is going to be my rock setter for the week. And it, as well, will have Ice Shard, which might be vital to this game. I'd love to get it off on, say, Hydreigon, or Gengar, or Gliscor. This Mon can do a lot against Gliscor. Or even Heliolisk late game. It doesn't have great defense. Possibly even Talonflame if it's not at full health. I mean, it does quite a lot here, that's for sure. Now, this thing is meant to block Heliolisk's Volt Switches and Thunderbolts, and most likely would go for Surf. I think to myself, there's no way he's going to bring Grass Knot, because most of my team isn't hit by Grass Knot, so he's going to bring Surf. And therefore, I brought Pasho Berry, so I can take one and KO a Heliolisk. Heliolisk Sandwich for Mamoswine. Next up, we have Pixie Plate, Sylveon, a semi-infinite wall. Hyper Voice, Hidden Power Rocks, Psyshock, and Baton Pass. Now this thing has some very interesting EVs, and it's a very interesting spread. Now the way it is EV'd, it can take 2 attacks from Talonflame. Now that could be Brave Bird or Flare Blitz, doesn't matter, but it'll be able to take 2 attacks and Hidden Power Rock. And it also has Baton Pass, of course, if I just want to switch around or play some games with that. I've definitely enjoyed doing that. But modest otherwise, like it's going to hit really hard. It nearly KOs Mega Diancie, does like 80-85%. it won't be able to set up in my face. It's got a lot going for it. It's also, like I said, a bit of a wall, but a bit of a tank, really, I think is a better way to describe this Sylveon. Next up, we've got Rotom with the Akaberry, Defog, Discharge, Volt Switch, Hidden Power, Ice. Now it's Akaberry for Talonflame specifically, because I want to be able to take 2 attacks, ideally, from Talonflame if I can, or at least take 1. Right? That would be extremely helpful for me, because then I could get a Discharge or a Volt Switch off. I also want this to be my dedicated Ferrothorn switch in, so that way he can never get up rocks, because Ferrothorn can do nothing to Rotom. You know, Thunder Wave does nothing, Grass type moves do nothing, you know, so stuff like that. It's got a lot going for it, and obviously any hazards it tries to stack up, I got Defog. Hidden Power Ice is just for the Gliscor if he brings that, so that way I am not walled by it. That would be bad. As it turns out for speed, I have enough speed, I believe, to outspeed, I want to say Necrozma. I'm pretty darn sure it was Necrozma was my choice, and I think that's probably the best Mon to outspeed there, because it gets some free Volt Switch or Discharge damage off on it. So why don't we jump right into the next Mon? My next Mon for the week is Tornadus Therian, the ideal Gaslight himself, Fly MZ, U-Turn, Knockoff, Hidden Power Steel, and Hurricane. So we just got U-Turn from Momentum. Knockoff is generally just good coverage against his team, especially it hits Gengar, most notably, although it can do a little bit of damage to Necrozma and hinders some of his other Mons as well. Now Hidden Power Steel is interesting. Obviously we know it's for Diancie. However, the other option was Iron Tail. And when I thought about it from the perspective of if he goes for Diamond Storm and gets the defense boost, Iron Tail won't KO. I figured Hidden Power Steel was probably better, even though it is not a KO 100% of the time. It's not... my goal would be just to get Diancie as low as possible so something else could revenge it, like Ice Shard Mamoswine. So even though it might not KO 100% of the time, it's the best I could get while still getting the accuracy that I need and not risking the, like I said, defense increase from the Diamond Storm. That would be the worst. Or missing, just flat out missing would be even more infuriating actually. Finally Hurricane, just for the Fly MZ. I might just want a big damage coverage move against say Necrozma or Talonflame or Hydreigon. It's just going to be big damage. So the speed is enough, I believe, for Heliolisk. So that way I can get attacks off on that if I can. Although I don't have much to hit it, it still might be able to get an attack off on it. Or actually, you know what? Sorry, it's Gengar. Gengar, so I can get an attack on that. It is Gengar, because they're 1 speed point apart. And finally, the best Mon of the week, Ariados! He's here. He's finally here in the house. He's making an appearance this season, and I told you in the draft analysis I had a fun idea for him. And here he is, Assault Vest, Sniper, Sucker Punch, Leech Life, Smart Strike, and Stomping Tantrum. This is the Gengar counter for the team, because Gengar puts in a lot of work, like I said. It hits pretty much everything super effectively and outspeeds just about everything. So my goal here is to basically Sucker Punch and Stomping Tantrum to get rid of Gengar. He won't see it coming. He's going to think Sticky Webs when he sees this thing, and when he doesn't see Sticky Webs, he will be very surprised. This thing is 4-hit KO'd by Shadow Ball. Focus Blast does nothing. Thunderbolt does nothing, although I guess a little more than Focus Blast, but still does nothing. Sludge Wave does nothing. And it still has Sniper if I get a critical hit. Just imagine how lucky that would be. And plus, it's no slouch to other Mons too. I mean, Leash Life is going to do decent amounts to Hydreigon, Necrozma. Imagine if I Smart Strike on a switch into Mega Diancie. I'm expecting that. Sometime that would be just so cool. I'd love to see that happen. Imagine switching like Stomping Tantrum into, say, Heliolisk, or surprising it with that, because this is like my secondary Heliolisk check, so I can take any special attacks from it. I could Stomping Tantrum to help take it out. Hydreigon as well. That's gonna have probably some special moves. I think this thing takes under 50% from a Draco Meteor. I think it's like 49%. Something like that, and I can get some health back with Leech Life, which by the way is buffed to 80 power, just as a quick reminder. So all in all, I'm liking this team. I think I put the best one forward. I'm excited to see what Ariados can do. I'm hoping it works. I think this is a Heat set, but it has a dedicated purpose. I think he's bringing Gengar. I think he has to, just because of all that coverage it has. But beyond that, I know he's going to bring probably all of the major threats that I mentioned, and he'll probably just pick a couple of other mons in there as well. He knows as well as I do that, you know, his team definitely has a little bit of an upper hand, but we're going to take advantage of it the best we can, give it our best fight. Let's do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.